your truth so purely.
So I began The Sun God's Heir almost exactly, I finished it. I finished the first draft almost exactly 10 years ago. It has taken that long. Things take a while sometimes, but I am very pleased with this edition, and I am happy that you guys came. So I'm going to read an excerpt from the book, and then I'll entertain whatever questions you might have. The bright sun defeated René's first attempt to open his eyes. The joy of the light on his face surprised him. Then emotion disappeared into iron-held focus. Joy held no seat in this arena. He willed his eyes to adjust. He needed every minute on deck to memorize distances, numbers, combat readiness of the men, and their morale. Anything and everything that he could learn. Doing his exercises had helped, and even though he could have stood unaided, he pretended to be suffering from his stay in the hold. The boatswain, a large man with scars on his arms and face, walked over to stand in front of René. "Chain him to the mast." Their gazes met. "Don't look at me, boy!" He backhanded René in the face. "Look down at the deck when I talk to you. You're some overfed nobleman's kid thinking you make the rules. Surprised you ain't crying for your mama. You got a mama, boy?" he asked, and laughed. When René didn't answer, he hit him again. "I asked you a question, boy. Don't try my patience, 'cause I ain't got none." "My mother died when I was born." René studied the man's feet to see how he moved. All the while, he cataloged everything in his peripheral vision. "Well, not to worry. You'll be seeing her soon." The boatswain turned to walk away, then turned back and hit René again. His bitter laugh floated across the deck. "I just had to do that." Though they had chained him in a way that forced him to stand, René had enough slack to turn and see most of the ship. He was aboard an English slave ship. She was an older carrack in design with the raised forecastle. She had seen better days, though. The fact that she was still on the seas suggested either a cutthroat reputation or an experienced captain. Under the wear, the ship was surprisingly clean, her ropes and sails newly repaired and in good order. Second-rate though she might be, she was seaworthy. This was a veteran crew, competent in their tasks and not likely to make mistakes that might allow him to escape. Escape? Even if he could, where would he go in the middle of the ocean? Do not rush fate. One thing at a time, do what you can do. His master's voice echoed within his head. He had to pick a fight and hope he survived long enough to create allies. The next time the big boatswain walked by, René laughed. "What are you finding so funny, boy?" The man stuck his face within inches of René's. The boatswain's right leg was shorter than his left, and René doubted anyone brought that fact to his attention without regret. "You walk funny," René called out, loud and clear. There was no profit to him if he got beat up and no one knew why. All work within the sound of René's voice stopped. Silence reigned. René had guessed right, and now he needed to survive his insight. The boatswain froze, disbelief written on his face. The disbelief changed to rage. "What did you say?" Spittle flew from his mouth. Even the captain had turned to watch. René counted on the fact that Gaspard's agent had given the captain a great deal of money along with explicit instructions that did not include throwing a dead boy overboard. What he could not know was how close to dead the agent considered acceptable. "I said you walk funny," René said, louder this time, so there was no mistake in his words. "Do you know what a cat is, boy?" The veins in the man's neck pulsed. His eyes were shot with red and blood. "A small animal?" René asked. There was a laugh from the men standing around the mast. The boatswain's gaze turned like a snake seeking prey. The laugh died. Only the sea continued to speak. In the presence of death, the man remained silent. You, James, bring me the cat. I don't think this boy has ever seen a real one. Your education has been sadly incomplete, boy. You'll be thanking me for this, I promise you. The man's voice was a rough whisper. God, there ain't no need to add harm to the kid. We'll find him soon enough, said James. Bring me the damn cat, Bailey. James walked over and handed the bosun the cat of nine tails. He caught Renee's eyes and shook his head. The cat had 9 sinuous thongs of blood-encrusted leather dangling from a well-worn wooden handle. This here's a cat, boy. As you can see, it ain't no small animal. Now, there is a skill and a talent to using a cat, both of which I am proud to say I have. You see, you need to take care the thongs don't get all stuck together with blood and skin, which they're wont to do. If that happens, the cat will take your organs right out, and that's always a bad thing. So you need to run your fingers between the thongs every couple of strokes to keep them separate. I gotta tell you, as much pride as I take in using the cat, sometimes I lose track. I try to keep count, but before I know it, I plumb forgot to clean the damn thing. I surely hope that don't happen today. I also have a skill and a talent, and I will kill you with it, Renee said in a low voice. The man hesitated, confusion written across his face. He laughed, a quick bark followed by an angry shake of the head. Pay attention, boy. He raised the whip before Renee's face, excuse me, separated the thongs of the cat, and petted it in a sensual way. Turn him around and chain him up. You there, strip off his shirt. A stroke cracked against Renee's back, sending blood and skin flying. It usually takes me 10 or 20 strokes to get warmed up, so don't get too excited yet. You have my attention now. Renee centered himself and forced down his awareness of the pain. He counted on his estimation of the captain and Gaspard's instructions. If he was wrong, he would be too hurt to try anything. 2. The whip cracked and pain sang along the bloody stripe down his back. Renee refused to cry out. He needed the respect of these men if he was to survive. 3. Crack! Blood trickled down the back of his legs. Time wavered and he faded in and out. 10. Crack! The force of the cat drove him into the mast. Enough, bosun! The master of the vessel had a stern voice long accustomed to command. But Captain, I ain't nearly finished. I was just getting warmed up. The bosun's voice was thick with frustration. Part of our bonus is to deliver this boy alive to his fate. I do not intend to lose money to satisfy your pleasure, sir. The captain was a tall, somber man with sharp eyes. He did not seem like the type of man to brook dissent. He called out to the crew, Do any of you wish to donate your share to the bosun's pride? A chorus of denials rang out, along with a few variations on, Leave the boy be! As the men dispersed, one of them muttered, That is one tough kid. Never seen a man take 10 without making a sound. Mr. Bailey unchained the boy and see to his wounds. He needs to be alive and aware in order for us to meet our commission. The captain turned back to his work. The bosun stood there, seething. His hand twitched. Droplets of blood jumped from the sodden leather to land on the deck. He leaned close enough for Renee to smell his foul breath. We have time yet, boy. You and I have business before the sharks get you. Renee's eyes met those of the wielder of the cat. I have made you a promise, sir, and I always keep my promises. The man was mute in response.